I think that Dokkan has a bit of a problem right now that people I don't really think have been talking about that much as of recently because, you know, the stellar releases that they have done, like the Anniversary and Golden Week, have been chock full of hype moments and stuff like that. And I really think that that has kind of deteriorated of the quality of certain teams, right? And it's like one big example of this problem right now is the fact that the superhero team exists and you literally just don't have an excuse, really, or a reason to run anything but the superheroes team aside from a category mission or just playing the game for fun, right? And now, I think what we should do in this video, I'm going to aim to kind of give you the idea of how we could save all the categories in this game and all of that kind of fun stuff. How could we fix these teams? What could we do in order to kind of make this a more prevalent system where it's not just, is a unit on superheroes? Yes, they're good. No, we're going to have to, you know, do a couple things, right? And I think that is the objective of today's video. So come along with me for this specific video. Let me know down below how you guys would fix this. What do you think of the category system? Does it need fixing? Is it perfect? What do you think? Because I know other games like Legends, they have a tag system that I do think, honestly, is a little bit better than the way that Dokkan does categories, because they don't like pick and choose specific criterias and stuff like that for when a unit can be on a category, when a unit isn't on a category. And I think that that's really what's going to come down to. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing, this would be the easiest fix in my opinion, but also one of the most tricky ones, and that would be to just get rid of some of these categories that we just don't need, right? Like, we can just kind of go down the list, and I know this would get tricky with like Super Battle Road stages and stuff like that, so obviously this isn't realistic, but I would at least like to offer the kind of thought, right? Like, let's just look at teams, right? Accelerated Battle. When are you running that team, right? What's another one? Planetary Destruction. You're not running that team. Timeless Legends, Legendary Existence, Otherworld Warriors. You know, these are just some of these nonsense teams, right? Universe 11 is not a team. World Tournament is barely a team, but it did get a lot of buffs. You know, you have stuff like, there's a bunch here, right? Like, I think it should be pretty obvious. Rapid Growth doesn't need to be a team. Giant Form doesn't need to be a team. We don't need to have all of these different Super Saiyan things condensed, right? Like, what if, like, power, like, just like the Super Saiyan power up? I feel like it'd just be one freaking team, right? Fused Fighters should just encapsulate Fusion and Potara, which it does, but there shouldn't need to be 3 different categories for essentially the same thing, right? Combined Warriors, we just call it that and we move on, right? Units that are fusing and stuff like that, they all go on that. And I think that would be kind of like the easiest way to do this, where we kind of condense the system to the point where it's not like this, because there's just so many different teams that never get any play, and they, like, there's not, like, it's going to take, you know, multiple celebrations for them to ever get to the point where they will be getting play, right? We look at a team like Youth. There's not really much going on here. The Vegeta family team is head and shoulders, like it's that was a bad way to put this. The Goku family team is like head and shoulders 10 times over better than the Vegeta's family team, right? The Potara team's been dead in the water for years now, it feels like, right? The Wicked Bloodline team, the most malevolent clan, that team is dead. There's just so many teams right now in the game that are dead, and it's like, how do you fix these, right? And I think that that's one way you fix them is you just get rid of them, because there's no need for them, because there's really no time that you're ever going to be running them, right? That's one way that you could do it, but I know that there would be a lot of inner workings in the game that would not work for. So that is not my solution. That is just one potential, that is one thing I can offer, where I think it's like, if you want to go the lazy way, you literally just delete them. Now, here's the more realistic option, or maybe not even the more realistic option, but one thing that I think this game has done a poor job of is executing their joined forces units. Now, why do I say this? Because the categories for them need to be extremely specific. So who is the best, like, if you're somebody that's watching this video, what would be the best example of a character that probably is not going to work that well in joined forces when it comes to shared categories, right? I'll give you a moment, because I know which one I'm going to right away. All right, did you get your answer? Boom, Goku and Piccolo. That was the first one. So when we go to this character, you guys can see they're only on 5 teams when they could potentially be on much more, right? You would think about a team, like maybe not even much more, but what you do is you could easily add 2 teams to this, right? You add them to Namekians, you add them to Pure Saiyans, you add them to Goku family, right? You add them to Turtle School. You do all of these things, and then all of a sudden, this character has a little bit of play. It's not perfect, but it's just a thought. I think that would be a good way to kind of get started, and then, like I said, all of a sudden these guys would have more play. You look at a unit like God Goku and Hit, it's the same idea. where you don't really have anything right here, or here, right? But what you could do is this would be on Power Beyond Super Saiyan. It would be on Universe 6. It would be on Universe 7. It would be on Goku Family. There would be a lot of different ways that you could add categories to these units, and then all of a sudden, they find more play because they're not only on 5 goddamn teams, right? Where High Speed Battle isn't a team. Legendary Existence is not a team. Universe Survival Saga right now, spoiler alert, it's superheroes, it's tournament participants, right? They would just be on these teams. Join Forces is a team, but this unit doesn't really make the cut because of the link set, because of the way that the format is. Because if you guys don't know, if a character is of a different race, or if it's like a hybrid Saiyan, or a pure Saiyan, or a Namekian and a Saiyan, they don't get both of those categories because they don't share that same category, right? Because, you know, Goku is obviously a pure Saiyan and Piccolo is not, but if Piccolo was a pure Saiyan, they'd be on pure Saiyan. So that is kind of where we run into an issue, where these guys that could easily have multiple teams and could be fitting on both multiple teams, they are just not, because that's how the game system is, right? Like this character could potentially be on Earthlings as well as Hybrid Saiyans, but it is not, because that's not how the category works. And I think Legends has done a good job of this with like tag units and stuff like that, how Goku and Frieza, Goku is obviously on the Goku, like they're on the Goku family, they're on the lineage of evil and stuff like that. I can't go into everything, but we'd be here for too long, right? But I think you guys kind of get the idea with that, right? Where the first two things is like you either get rid of the categories or you give these Join Forces units, you know, better inclusion with the categories and stuff like that. And that is kind of how you get started. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in specific is we stop making ridiculous exceptions for characters to not be on specific categories. Now, the best example of this one, right? I'm sure you guys have watched other YouTubers talk about this, like where some categories are just nonsense, and it's like, why are certain characters not on here, right? Like the most egregious example to me is Namek Goku not being on the revenge category, but it's like, you know, we're making like exceptions to the rule, right? Where it's like Ultimate Gohan being on here makes sense. I guess Orange Piccolo being on here makes sense because of like the beating that Gamma 2 gave him or something like that, but it's like, obviously a lot of these characters make sense, but there's a lot of characters missing. Now, I don't want to just like plagiarize, you know, somebody else's video where they're talking about it, but obviously I can say Namek Goku not being on Revenge is silly, right? Like it's just a bunch of nonsense, right? Some of these fusing units not being on Pure Saiyans is a little bit of nonsense, right? Like where it's like all the fusions not being on Pure Saiyans, even though it's Goku and Vegeta. Now, you could make the argument that pure and pure doesn't equal pure, but it's a video game, right? Like let's give Gogetas and Vegetos more categories to be on, because I think the team could use it and it would just be helpful, right? Like that is kind of the idea where, you know, we're making silly little restrictions and silly little things to not put units on teams. Meanwhile, you know, let's pull up our friendly neighborhood AGL Gohan and we can go ahead and look at all of the excuses in the book that they made to put him on every goddamn team in the game. I love this unit, by the way, but it is a little bit ridiculous when we go to the categories. Like look at all these teams that are on, these guys are on, and then go look at Goku and Piccolo, right? How many is this? This is 22. This character's on 22 categories. So just keep that in mind when there's a unit in the game that's on like 3. So that is kind of like the issue at hand. Now, what is the way that you fix these? Now, I'm glad you asked that question, even though you didn't ask it. How do we start? I think Majin Buu Saga gave us the blueprint, right? What we do when we have a focus celebration on a category is we properly do the buffs, and we do the buffs that we get justice. There's not bad units, there's not dumb, pointless releases, like things that we're not going to be able to take advantage of, right? So let's go ahead and just start with how we did Golden Week this year, and this is kind of going to be the blueprint that we're going to mention, so I'll mention each step of that. What did we do? For Global, we got the Easy A for Buhan and Vegito. Very good. We got the Golden Week Dual Dokkan Fest. This unit, phenomenal. Top 3 TUR, arguably 1. This unit right here, top 3 TUR, arguably 1. Probably not. We got it at Part 2 LR. Very good. One of the better units in the game, probably top 20 range, solid, just not the best we've ever seen, but still very good, right? What else did we have? We had the banner units from these things. They're just okay. This Gotenks is all right. This Boo is pretty good, but all in all, just okay. We continue to go. We got the Easy A for Gotenks that came early to Global, if I could find him. Can't seem to track that bad boy down. Where is he? This one right here. We got the Super Easy 8 for Tech Gotenks on JP. Over the course of like 2 celebrations, we also got for Goku Day, Gohan Day, the Easy 8 for Tech Ultimate Gohan. So what is that blueprint that I mentioned? Over the course of like 2 celebrations or so, we make sure all of the buffs that we have are meaningful and quality like releases. We're not just throwing them in and making them bad just so we can say that we threw them in and represented the character, right? I think that is the most important step in order to make these units good or to make these teams better. So sagas are the easiest way to do this, where we could easily see like a buff for Planet Namek saga if we go back there for Tanabata or Worldwide. I think we need a buff for the Android Cell saga. Like all of these sagas, except for like Universal Survival saga and Majin Buu saga right now, I think need big buffs. We want to talk about the Wicked Bloodline. What we want to do is start emphasizing the major categories that are going to consistently get updates and focus on them in certain like periods, right? Where a celebration can just lock in on a specific tag. We look at Special Pose, the way they save that team. We can pull them up really quickly. This is another good blueprint where, you know, a super EZA, a regular EZA, and then a Dokkan Festival with a good Part 2 LR all kind of work and mesh together in order to get to this point where this team went from it just being all of the Gammas to having different options. We had Ririan and Kakunso, we had the new LR Gamma, or Ginyu Force, we had this Topo, we had this Gotenks EZA. And it's just like all of a sudden these teams mix and match really well, and we have this is like a legit team, and it only took like a matter of a couple weeks to do so. And like that clearly shows that they can do it, and we have all of these teams in the game that have no usage, right? Let me go ahead and count how many teams, in my opinion, are dead, and we can talk about it in a moment, but I'm obviously going to pause to do this. All right, so in total, after kind of tallying all these up, I counted 58 teams that are pretty, like, objectively bad, and then they're, like, they haven't been buffed in a while. Like, not buffed in a while, but just bad teams. So out of all of these right here, 58 of them, I counted them as bad. So let me know down below how you guys would save these. I think that I offered a bunch of solutions in order to kind of fix this problem here in this video below. I hope you did enjoy today's video. And if you did, like I said, leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one. Big shout out to my channel members, Cal Manning, Saffron, Big Han, No, Sky Knight, Cheese, Baby Chicken, Rylick, James, Macker, Static, White Tea Steve, Anto, Towelettes, Blitz, Wanex, Shoao, Shafted, Ashish, Scar, James, and Rao. If you'd like to join the membership, please click the link in the description and you can see everything that you get there. You get early access to videos, member requested videos, and VIP role in the Discord. So thank you guys for watching. See you all next time.